I have no enemies. This is a phrase that's been pretty much traveling around the internet recently on TikTok, YouTube, anime Twitter, due to an anime called Vinland Saga. And I recently watched a video that was breaking down this phrase, sent to me by my friend Frank, that I had profiled recently. And I loved the video, but there was a little bit of a twist that I wanted to put because I'm a little bit pedantic. Instead of I have no enemies, I wanted to talk about the idea of I am an enemy to no one. Pretty much the idea that even if we do have enemies, just because they're an enemy to us doesn't mean that we have to be an enemy to them. Let me explain that a little bit more. So, if you don't know me, my name is Denzel Mensah. I'm an ENFJ, 9-wing-1, social sexual. I'm a life, personal development, and relationship coach. And like I said, today we're going to be talking about the phrase, in more particular, I am an enemy to nobody, or I'm an enemy to no one. Now, for me personally, one of my deepest principles or values is the idea of being an embodiment of love everywhere I go. This is not something that I've mastered yet. Hopefully you watched my video recently on teaching what you haven't already mastered, but what you're still learning. And even though I haven't mastered this yet, I've still been able to see the fruit from it. Now for me, what it means to be an embodiment of love is pretty much everything that love entails. I want to be a physical, real, walking and breathing example of it. If love is patient, I want to be patient. If love is forgiving, I want to be forgiving. If love is merciful, I want to be merciful to people. If love is being able to put aside your own desires and needs for somebody else, I want to be able to do that for others as well. And whatever else that love has, I want to continue to work on myself and cultivate myself, cultivate my own heart, so that I can be an embodiment of that, an example of that to other people. I think not only will it make other people's lives better, but ultimately it improves the quality of my life as well. So with this type of mindset, then the idea of me being an enemy to anybody else doesn't really resonate. Even if they might think that I'm an enemy, then it's just a false misperception because I have no ill will toward them. So I guess we have to define what an enemy actually is. According to the dictionary app, a person who feels hatred for, fosters harmful designs against, or engages in antagonistic activities against another, an adversary or opponent, an armed foe, an opposing military force, a hostile nation or state, a citizen of such a state. These are examples or definitions of what an enemy is. I have always loved a phrase that's come from Bishop T.D. Jakes. Back in the day when there wasn't really Apple Music and stuff like that, podcasts, I was downloading things to my MP3 player, and I used to listen to a lot of sermons. And so I would download certain sermons I would listen to over and over again because I could only have 50 to 100 songs or tracks on my MP3, certain types of space. And the sermons, of course, were a lot longer, so then you couldn't even have that many tracks. But anyway, one of the sermons I would listen to is one by Bishop T.D. Jakes, and in that sermon, there's a part that I always used to laugh at because it just really sat with me. So at this part, he would always say something along the lines of, you can go ahead and have a problem with me. I don't have time to have a problem with you. I have to preserve time, maximize the moment, and move forward into my destiny. And every time he would say that, and I'd start clapping yeah, no, I feel that. I think even Medea, like Tyler Perry's Medea, she said something similar to that too. She said something along the lines of, "No, you have a problem with me. I'm not thinking about you. I'm not like you're not even on my mind." And of course, that could come off in a way that's like petty and passive aggressive. You know, there's a difference between wishing somebody genuinely like love and light versus like, bless you, child, you know. And when I think about those types of phrases that I just said from Medea or Bishop T.D. Jakes, when I'm actually trying to embody that, when I'm actually thinking about it in that way, what comes to mind for me is not passive aggressiveness or pettiness, not a way of seeing myself as higher than the other person, but in actuality, it's just the truth, as in the energy that it takes for me to actually harbor hate, vengeance, ill will towards you, and then orchestrate events to get back at you or to even just bring conflict and harm into your life at all. For me personally, it's a waste of time. It's a misuse of the energy that I have. If I want to be an embodiment of love, then why am I using the energy that I've been given for any day to try and harbor resentment against someone and use that resentment to get back at the person? It's not right. At least not in my opinion. If somebody's not trying to be an embodiment of love, that's different. But they probably also don't live by the principle or by the value, by the phrase, I'm an enemy to no one. Somebody who's really working to become an embodiment of love, somebody who really wants to practice patience, virtuousness, someone who wants to actually practice forgiveness and mercy, empathy, that's big. With empathy, I made that video on shadow work. The more that you're able to actually understand another person, all you can have for them is compassion. Because you're able to see even how they became an enemy to you in the first place. You're able to see the inner child. You're able to see this is where something went wrong with them. Or maybe this is how I have hurt them in a way that's caused them to now act this way towards me. Dang, I get it now. And even though it might have appeared as if I was an enemy to them, and maybe I was an enemy to them in that moment, because in everybody's narrative, there's a victim, there's a hero, and there's a villain. You might be the villain to somebody else in their narrative. But how can you shift that? That's the real question. Love. Love. Being an embodiment of love. When you are truly walking in that type of love, I feel like it's very hard for somebody to truly continue to have fuel to see you as an enemy. This doesn't mean that you're going to be a perfect person. This doesn't mean that you're never going to offend somebody. I definitely, like I said, I have not mastered this yet. So please don't watch this and think that I'm trying to say that I have arrived, I never offend anyone, and I am just this absolute sage of a person. That is definitely not the case. But it's something that I'm continuing to work on. It's something that I want to continue to embody, to be kind to other people, even if they're not kind to me. And I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for myself. It brings so much more peace, so much more higher vibration when you're walking in love, when you're viewing other people almost as if you're yourself. We are all human beings. We are all living on the same planet. We are all one. Something that I remember that I've gone on a lot of spiritual journeys recently, and maybe one day I'll talk about them. Right now, they're still being processed, mainly for myself, and amongst very close loved ones and everything. But one of the insights that I had during one of these many spiritual experiences is this idea of harmony. Now, a lot of people think of harmony as a very corny word. They think of it as, I had an acquaintance of mine often call it kumbaya shit. Like, what's with that? And this person actually has a very tumultuous life. And people around this person, like this person had no friends, was often getting into a lot of bickering and arguing with their partner, and it was very violent in nature, and just a lot of different things in that way. And I would look at the person, I would think to myself, how can you not see the value in harmony when the lack of harmony has been harming you? Harmony is not a corny thing. Just like a lot of people think that love is corny and everything, it's not. It's almost as if viewing it that way perpetuates most of the problems in the world. When you really come to understand harmony, it's not all about everybody has to be the exact same and we have to all be in alignment in this way. But what harmony actually is having the different perspectives in life and then providing balance. You need balance and harmony. That doesn't mean that everyone is the same. In fact, it often means that everybody is different, because even when we look at harmony in music, I did a video years ago on, I think it's called the piano keys of harmony or something along those lines. It's probably showing up on the screen right now, but it was a simple thing where I was pretty much talking about the idea that even when you look at a piano key, it's black and white and everything, when you bring those two together, that's when you have the best kinds of music. You can make music with just white keys. You can make music with just black keys. But the best music is when you bring them both together. And then if you take it a step further, even amongst just the white keys and even amongst just the black keys, none of them are exactly the same. When you're having harmony, then you're truly allowing even an F sharp that's in a higher octave, if it's paired with an F sharp in a lower octave, even if they're doing the same note, they still have their very respective differences. There's a reason why each thing is there. And it's now all about finding its place and bringing balance. That's what creates the music. And if something's out of place, you'll hear it in the music because it's out of alignment, it's out of harmony. So we're all on the same page in one sense, that we're all, making music. We're all human beings on this planet that are just trying to be better, that's trying to understand life, trying to figure things out, trying to make a living in this crazy world that we live in. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we have to necessarily become exactly like one another. In fact, that's going to be a huge disadvantage, because I firmly believe, and as somebody who really understands and teaches about type, even with the 16 personalities, there's so much nuance between all of them. It's just a foundation. It's just a start. But there's 1,000, 1,000,000, infinite different ways that an INFP can show up while still having the same function stack of FI, NE, SI, and TE. I've seen it. And so with that, you come to understand the beauty of humanity. And when you understand the beauty of humanity, and you understand the beauty of interpersonal connections and how we really all have a past and how we've all become the person that we are today for a reason, and how even our scars have become a part of us and tells a story, that's when you're able to also view somebody else almost as just an extension of yourself. That comes with the view or mindset of being an embodiment of love. And then when you're being that, taking it right back all the way over to the beginning, you are no longer an enemy to anyone. They might be an enemy to you. They might plot against you. They might misunderstand your actions and then perceive you as someone trying to get in their way and all of that. But don't feed into it. Understand where they're coming from. Not from a, oh, I'm better than you kind of place. That's very counterproductive. Be genuine when you're doing this. Understand where they're coming from. The only time you should ever look down on someone is if you're trying to lift them up. I mean that. This is being a true and pure embodiment of love. Now, the last thing I want to say is don't get this twisted with not being someone who is capable of providing self-defense. I really love the movie The Three Ninjas. I haven't seen it in over a decade, but I love it. And one of the lessons that was taught in the movie was that ninjas have this kind of code. I actually also read this in those Magic Treehouse books. And the code is that when you're fighting someone, if you have to get into a fight, because first, the thing is always run first. Try to get away from the fight. Just because you can fight doesn't mean you should fight. But if the person is on you, now personally, I know that Jesus said, turn the other cheek. I don't really quite agree with that. I don't think that if somebody slaps me, I'm just going to be like, please slap this other one. And maybe that's not 100% what Jesus meant by that. But what I at least think is that, you can still block it, You can still block the slap. You can restrain the person. You can even push them off. You can do some certain maneuvers. I do jujitsu. I'm not a master at it, but I have practiced jujitsu for a couple of years. And there's a lot of maneuvers that I've practiced that I've been able to master that I'm like, okay, if in this situation I need to do this, I know what to do here. Cool. But you don't go looking for it. And once you have the person on the ground and whatever, you don't continue to just beat them to death. They're off of you. Everything is good. Bounce. That's the difference between self-defense and offense. So I'm not saying just let people walk all over you and let people trample you and let people do whatever they want to you if you want to be an embodiment of love. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying just roll over and be a punk, any of that. What I'm saying is be strong by being meek. Meek in the sense that you have the power of a lion, but you reserve it to protect. Protect yourself, yes, but protecting yourself does not mean going overly offensive. You're just doing enough to get out of the situation. So, that's what I wanted to talk to y'all about today. And this is kind of similar to my video, The Power of Love, which if you haven't seen that yet, I definitely recommend. I think that it was really good. I think it really summarizes a lot of the thoughts that I have of love. Love is such a vast term. And I think in that video, I said that I wasn't going to make any more videos about love in that way because that kind of took the whole gist. I had just read Martin Luther King Jr.'s The Strength to Love. And, I just been really contemplating that concept of love a lot. And it's something that's continuing to evolve in my brain, especially because, again, if I want to be an embodiment of it, I want to study it. I want to practice it. And when you're an embodiment of love, when you're practicing and honing yourself to be an embodiment of love, I just really think that it's very difficult for other people to continue to have fuel for their mind to see you as an enemy to them. And eventually, they start to see your life, and then they start to want that same kind of peace and zen and understanding that you seem to be working on having. Again, doesn't mean that you have everything figured out. But there's enough to you that's keeping you centered. And people who have a lot of enemies, they can't be centered. They can't have peace. They can't rest. People who have enemies toward other people, there's so much rage and everything. They can't relax. But man, when you're just chilling and you're really going about your business and you're working every day to become a better version of yourself, it's a lot more peaceful of a life. you face obstacles, especially those that come within yourself. If anything, you can be your greatest enemy just as you are your greatest hero. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'd rather choose that kind of battle because it produces way more fruit that others could even feed off of than to choose the other types of battle where we're just battling against each other. So, okay, that's all that I have for y'all today. Make sure to leave questions, comments, concerns. Let me know what you think about what I just said. Feel free to add more onto it. And yeah, if you would like to discuss this further, check out denzelmensah.com. I offer coaching if you want to get profiled in the Myers-Briggs system and everything. I offer that too, those types of services. And yeah, I haven't said this in a while, but if you have the app Telegram, or if you want to get the app Telegram and join my subscriber group chat called Ponder Palace, hey, hit me up at denzelmensah94@gmail.com and title the subject Ponder Palace. I'll send you the link. I don't want to just post it like in the comments and all that because it's a pretty like tight-knit group and we kind of like vet it and stuff like that. We can't just have anybody popping in there, and we talk about everything in there. We have different branches and stuff like that. It's really cool. And then we have like video chats, and I share a lot of exclusive personal information in those as well, because again, like those are the people that I'm like, okay, like y'all are squad, so we can talk about this. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it. And I hope that I was able to help impart something onto you to encourage you to not be an enemy toward anyone and to be an embodiment of love toward everyone. All right, that's all. And don't forget, you matter. Done. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. And if you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe. It actually really helps out my channel a lot so that more people who actually care about what I want to say can actually find me a lot more easier. Also, if you did enjoy it, then maybe you'll enjoy a lot of my other content as well. So be sure to check out some of my playlists where you'll be able to find a lot of my older videos and older content. And last but not least, if you would like any profiling sessions or coaching sessions, be sure to check out denzelmensah.com where you'll be able to book me and you'll see the rest of my services. But thanks again and have a great day.